survey also revealed that the vast majority of Black audiences are concerned about the lack of Black-owned media and are more likely to listen to talk radio that focuses on issues that impact the Black community. For some reason, the other talk stations haven't quite figured that out.
If you think about KFI, well, KFI only has like a 3% Black listenership. 3%. So there's a good 97% out there to support a station like KBLA.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your Black. Your Black. Your Black.
I jump up on the stage and do my money dance. I throw some money up and watch the money land. I do my money dance. I do my money dance. I jump up on the stage and do my money dance. I throw some money up and watch the money land. I do my money dance. I do my money dance. I jump up on the stage and do.
Welcome to Wealth Building Wednesdays, where we center Black, women, and BIPOC-owned businesses, highlight opportunities and initiatives for underrepresented entrepreneurs, and center socially innovative enterprises, building generational prosperity, fostering real networking, and recycling Black dollars. It's Wealth Building Wednesdays on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes, indeed it is. And we are putting the Wealth Building Wednesday spotlight on an accomplished photographer born and raised in Columbia, South Carolina. He started his interest in photography as a teenager, watching stuff like House of Style, and he was on the yearbook team. And then after some time in the military, he went on to work for studios like Smashbox and Quixote, and also working with some top tier photographers like Testino. Started his own business and became the sole photographer at the wedding of Viola Davis. He's shot covers, TV spots, covers for magazines, and he has a book called Black Hollywood, the Black Hollywood Book Project, which is recreating scenes from movies and iconic images. It's Black Hollywood Coffee Table Book. And Carell Augustus is in our Wealth Building Wednesday spotlight. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm blessed. How are you?
I am blessed as well, and thank you so much. I'm very excited to speak with you this morning. Thank you.
Yeah, it's nice to speak with you as well. Now, you know, the art of photography, of course, is a fine art,
Yes.
but it's also a business, right?
It is. Oh, it's a business, and you know, I'm in Los Angeles. There's a lot of people out here doing the business of it, but you know, you try to develop a very unique voice, and luckily, I was able to do that, and I'm very excited about it.
How would you describe your unique voice?
Well, when I first got to LA about 20 years ago, the it girls were like Cameron Diaz and Reese Witherspoon and Julia Roberts, and there was not very much people of color that people focused on, and I decided to do that and quickly develop a reputation for, you know, being an African-American photographer focusing on African-American talent. And for years and years and years, I just focused on shooting people that looked like me, which was unorthodox, because this is before Gabrielle Union and, you know, some of the girls that we know now and see regularly were sort of sought after. And I just thought there was a space and a place for them and for me. And because I focused on them, I decided that I was going to take it further and, you know, start shooting for a book where I took these same people that I talked about and recreate these really cool scenes from movies and images as pushback to the lack of representation. And the product, you know, we came out a few months ago, and it's just been phenomenal how it's caught on with people, and I'm very excited about it.
So I'm assuming these are folks that you've photographed over the years. You got Vanessa Williams, the beauty pageant star and movie star singer.
Yes.
You've got Shamar Moore, Vivica Fox,
Yes.
Michael Jai White, Amari Hardwick,
Yeah.
is, these are folks that you'd worked with before, and you kind of called in all the favors for your book?
Well, actually, no, not quite.
Okay.
These are folks that I used to shoot for a company that did celebrity gifting. So about maybe 40% of the people I had already worked with and talked with, and some I just reached out to blindly, and some said no, and some representation, the people said yes, they would love to do it. And, when I first got my publishing deal, people were saying to me from the publisher, hey, can we put some of these pictures into context? And up until that point, I had never had to do that, because I said, well, I'm not sure what you mean exactly, but here's all the context you need. Everybody that I asked to do this, nobody asked me why. Because we get it. So if we can take that piece, incorporate it into the art form, produce the book, then I'm more than willing to do that. But we get what's going on here. So I reached out. It's so ironic. A lot of the people that you just mentioned, I reached out to coldly.
Oh, wow.
And you mentioned basically the ones that I emailed, the publicist or the agent or the manager, the assistant, or I had a friend who was on a TV show working with some of the people and made it happen that way. But I was very nervous in the beginning because I didn't have anything to show, and how do you sell an idea when you don't really have anything to show but the words of an idea? And I'm really grateful, like Cress Williams. I remember going to Cress Williams' house and not having anything, and speaking with he and his wife, who was an actress as well during the time, Kali Ali, and Cindy Callie Riley, I'm sorry, excuse me. And they said, okay, well, we like the idea, and let us know when you want to shoot. And I'm really happy because, sometimes it just takes somebody saying that to you to spark the flame that gets it going. And I'm grateful that they let this kid during the time sitting there and express this idea and join and follow. And it was incredible. Incredible experience.
Yeah, and it's funny because the way you tell it makes it sound easy, but anyone who's worked in Hollywood, and especially being Black in Hollywood, knows it ain't that simple. You call a publicist, most of the time you get crickets. You call an agent, they want to know how big is the check. So if
That's
you're
right.
not a big studio, that's more than a notion to just be like, hey, Lauren London, would you like, can I just take a picture of you? That's not how it goes. So what is that juju that you got going? What is that mojo that you be doing?
Yeah, it's everything you just said is absolutely accurate. And oftentimes, if I was talking to the person directly, and I had said, I have this idea, I would love to photograph you, and they said back to me, oh, here's my publicist or here's my agent, I wouldn't even call. Because I learned after doing it for so long that what happens is there's so many obstacles presented to you, and they want to know, well, who's publishing? Well, I didn't have a publisher. Well, you're dead in the water. If you tell somebody that you want to shoot Jamie Foxx and you don't have a publisher, they're just looking at you like, well, call us back when you get one, and then you do that, and then it's been so long. They don't. And when you're in the middle of this stuff, that's getting a publisher is something you want to think about down the road, because you want to be able to present all the work. So you can't really get the publisher without the work. You can't get the work without the publisher. So you have to come up with really creative ways to hopefully have people join. And luckily, at the end of this project, I had about 72 people that just understood what it was, the messages we wanted to send, and just joined us and said yes. And what I've discovered is no matter who they are, if you don't keep them all day and feed them, they'll generally come out and photograph with you.
Yeah, okay. So it's just you, is what you're saying. They just like you. Because look, I have people calling me all the time talking about, oh, Dominique, you should get so-and-so on the radio. Yeah, I should also get Marvin Gaye, and it's just about as likely.
Right. And people will say, oh, Carell, why don't you get, Whoopi Goldberg or Michelle Obama would love this, and all these like top tier names, because people have no idea the content of which it takes to create and go after these people, particularly if you don't have a name, and if you do, you have 9 people working for you to call you to say, hey, Dominique, Marvin Gaye is going to be on tomorrow,
right?
Or whatever the case may be. So it's so much headspace and it's so much work that, I think people are just really amazed who watched me sort of conceive this idea, nurture it over the years. I had a great YouTube channel that I would put all these really cool behind the scenes videos of me shooting people. And I think people got just tired, in quotation marks, of waiting on the finished product. But I wasn't done. And they were like, well, why is it taking so long? And people don't get it. And I would say to people, listen, I want to see it in its intended form as well. And I'm the only person that I know that's been on every single shoot. Everybody else is showing up and can't wait to see the game, having no clue what it takes. Like at a concert, you go to a concert and you're sitting there, you're waiting, and the lights go down, and everybody gets excited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was very much like that, and I had to tune all that stuff out because it just became noise. It became noise, and I knew they didn't get it. And I said, well, I want to create a book that people have never heard of. So you guys who follow me now, I appreciate it. But there's a whole world of people that don't even know this thing is being created. So this is for all of us. And people came, called me every suggestion in the world of what I should do and how I should do it and when. And I just had to, Dominic, just quiet those voices down and focus and produce the work that I wanted to produce.
Well, flipping the script to the other side of that equation, you are also the, in-demand photographer. Do you take just random people? Like if somebody is listening to this show and they're like, ooh, I want a Carell Augustus photo shoot. Can they just contact you, or you have to be Lauren London?
Oh, no. No. You do not. Because what I have discovered, Dominic, is AT&T does not care where I get the money from to pay my bills. And absolutely not. We had a huge party for the release of the book initially in Los Angeles, and I invited every single person from the book. We invited family, friends, supporters, and I said, I just want everybody to have this night because I know we all grew up watching this stuff and being on the outside of it looking in. Marla Gibbs was there, Kyla Pratt was there, Paula J. Parker was there. So many people, and everybody just was interacting with everybody. And it wasn't about the celebrities over here and we're over here. So, no, I will photograph anybody who contacts me and want to shoot and be conceptual, because we all deserve to have an experience that we want. So thank you. That's a great question. Nobody's ever asked me that, so thank you.
Well, if you want to try your hand, CarellAugustus.com. It's CARELL and then AUGUSTUS. I'm sure you can figure it out, CarellAugustus.com. What do you want to be known for? Yes. What's your legacy as an artist and as a Hollywood mover and shaker?
Yeah, Donna, you have the best question.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, I've been doing this for months and months and months, and I keep getting the same question. So I just want to thank you. That's pretty amazing. So
it's my job.
I digress. Yes, you're very good at it. I think what I want to be known for is a guy that took risk, a photographer, an artist that took risk to unabashedly and unapologetically focus on Black talent, and not necessarily the Black talent that we all know and love and can name instantly, because we love those people too. There's so much Black talent out here that we'll never know and never learn. And if I could take some of those people who I saw on Broadway, or who I saw in a TV commercial, who I saw on a soap opera, and give them a little bit of a shine. Vanessa Bell Calloway said to me recently, she said, I really appreciate the fact that you came out with a lot of the people in your book who are not constantly overused, because it sends such a great message. And of course, we all would love a book filled with Denzel and Viola and Michael B. Jordan and some of the really hot ones out right now. And I would not ever turn on an opportunity to photograph them. But just like my party, I want the people who are out here every day auditioning, getting commercials, on TV spots, getting bit roles. To if you're a friend of mine and you have a talent and you impressed me, then I would love to add you to this book. Everybody should have some sort of a celebrity status. Like, I would love to shoot you, Dominic, and throw you in volume 2, because you have a following. You've been doing this a very long time, and people deserve a shine in other areas as well.
Well, of course, I would love to. I mean, you make Black people look amazing, and not that we need tons of help, but it's nice when people know what they're doing. If you want to see his work, CarellAugustus.com. Also love the fact that you unapologetically have a tab on your page called BLM. A lot of Hollywood folks, it's only when it's trendy that they want to be unapologetic, and when it's not trendy, they go back to hiding. And I see you have not done that, so I commend you for that. And it's really nice talking with you. If we want to get the book, how do we do that?
So the book is available. You can go to CarellAugustus.com. It's actually one of the first things that pop up. It's also on Amazon, Black Hollywood Reimagining Iconic Movie Moments. It's on Barnes & Nobles, on Target, Walmart.com. You can go to my Instagram, which is CarellAugustus_, or Black Hollywood Book Project on Instagram. And it's all links there to connect you to getting the book. And I just really appreciate the time and people's interest and enthusiasm about it. It's just been so amazing. But it also says to me that we've been waiting on something like this, something that we hadn't seen like this before.
Yes, indeed, we have. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. Congratulations. And look forward to meeting you in the future. Black Hollywood Book Project is the name of it. You can find it at CarellAugustus.com.
Thank you very much. And have a great, wonderful morning. I appreciate it.
And you as well. It's a perfect time to call me, 800-920-1580. You're listening to KBLA. We are Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
The Anti-Racism, Diversity, and Inclusion Initiative, LA County Supervisor Holly Mitchell, 2nd District, and the City of Compton are excited to announce the release of the inaugural State of Black Los Angeles County Report. Join us this Saturday, April 8th from 12:30 to 3 p.m. at Dollar Hyde Community Center in Compton. Los Angeles County is home to the 3rd largest Black population in the U.S. Black Angelinos have been integral to the cultural, economic, and socio-political landscape of LA County. Yet, we continue to experience adverse life outcomes resulting from anti-Black racism. This community launch event will include food, giveaways, and swag. See you there. To RSVP, please go to bit.ly/SBLA launch or text 626-399-1474.
KBLA Talk 1580 congratulates U.S. Olympic gold medalist and Hall of Famer Jeanette Bolden Pickens, owner of the 27th Street Bakery, during this Women's History Month. 27th Street Bakery sends a huge thank you to the community for all its support during the pandemic, serving the Los Angeles community with their signature sweet potato pies since 1956 and third-generation baker. The goal has never changed. Keep the business thriving for generations to come. Made with the freshest ingredients in each yam peeled by hand. 27th Street Bakery puts the home back in homemade with its signature vanilla added to all its amazing products: pies, cakes, cobblers, tea cakes, and the newest item, creamy sweet potato cheesecake. Call 323-233-3469. That's 323-233-3469. Have your order shipped by visiting 27thstreetbakery.com or stop by 2700 South Central Avenue, Los Angeles, California, 90001, Tuesdays through Saturdays, 8 to 4.
Like bones, your teeth lose density and become weaker over time, which can lead to tooth decay. And that can make your visit to the dentist feel like this. But if you want your dental visit to feel like this, try Crest Densify. Crest Densify actively rebuilds tooth density to extend the life of teeth by remineralizing enamel. Densify from Crest, the #1 toothpaste brand in America. Smile, Crest has you covered.
At the United States Postal Service, we're reinventing our network to help keep your business moving. With new shipping options to deliver better value, greater flexibility to conveniently reach your customers, more confident shipping with new informed delivery features, and new electric vehicles for a cleaner, brighter future. Fast, reliable, perfectly orchestrated. The United States Postal Service, delivering for America. Learn more at USPS.com/moving forward.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Right now, indeed. I would love to hear from you. 800-920-1580. I can't wait to hear what the KBLA delegation has to say about the events of yesterday. Watching somebody that many of us have hoped for so long would have an orange jumpsuit to match his orange hair be arraigned was really a highlight moment in history. I would love to hear your thoughts on that or whatever else is on your mind. 800-920-1580. I do think it's important, whether the case is, the strongest of cases or not. It's important because this is the first step in accountability. And for those folks who say it's helping him raise money, it'll help him win, I think it's true. It is helping him raise money. I don't know that it will help him win. I think I might agree with attorney Carell Douglas on that, in that he may win the nomination. He may win the base, that hardcore Republican base, but it will put him in a worse position with those conservative Democrats that have voted for him in the past and those independents, because he lost last time, right? He lost last time against Joe Biden. And I think this could give him fundraising, but I don't see it giving him a lot. It certainly gave him press on yesterday, but I don't think it's going to give him the kind of shine that's going to raise his level of votes with independents and those on the fence. Those 34 felony counts. And let's remember, there are 3 or 4 more cases in the pipeline. Did you guys see Marjorie Taylor Greene out in New York trying to do a pro-Trump protest? And then this is New York, fool. You're not in in the deep South. You're in New York City. Yeah. And she basically had to get out of Dodge. I mean, she had police escorting her out of her own rally. 50 pro-Trump protesters versus more than 100 anti. And then she's got the nerve to compare the former president, the guy I like to call he who shall not be named, to Nelson Mandela. Are you kidding me right now? That's a no for me. Then he does the old, and I appreciated MSNBC not airing that, unhinged rant that he did at Mar-a-Lago, his, Napoleon Bonaparte meets, 12 kinds of crazy. I appreciated them just saying, hey, if he says anything new or important, we'll let you know. But in the meantime, it's business as usual, because the press is going to have to come up with a new way of dealing with this man if they're not going to hand him all the free advertising that they handed him last time. I'd say, speaking of things that make you smile or brighten up your day, keep you encouraged, the victory for Brandon Johnson in the city of Chicago. Mr. Johnson was on Tavis's show not long ago. Progressives know where to find progressives here at KBLA Talk of 1580. It was not a done deal. It was very tight. He was running against this guy Paul Vallas, who was former schools executive chief. But this is a really stark race, very similar actually to the LA mayoral race, in the fact that you have a black progressive who's running on, care first, kind of in alternatives to incarceration, a progressive message, running to the left of Lori Lightfoot, who was the former mayor and lost. And then he's running against this law and order guy who's, on that lock 'em up kind of more Rick Caruso vibe. He's a Democrat, but a very conservative Democrat at that. And, of course, Johnson, the progressive, backed by the teachers union, which he's been an organizer for. And again, this guy, Vallis, he's backed by the Fraternal Order of Police. So this is a big win, I think, for progressives. And if you think about it now, the streak, I guess you could call it a streak, of black mayors being chief executives in our top cities nationwide is back. I mean, of course, it never really left, right? You have the unfortunate train wreck of the poster boy for all skin folk and kinfolk, Eric Adams in New York, but then you've got Karen Bass here, you've got, my brother, Raz Baraka in Newark, you have San Francisco, London Breed, and the list goes on. So this is, part of that movement. And I think that's important. Not that, you're automatically going to be a perfect mayor, but they're going to tend to be more progressive, tend to be more understanding of the challenges and alternatives to incarceration, tend to be, at least if, not obviously personally, but in contact with folks who have been in contact with injustices in the justice system, or whether it be economic injustices, discrimination, and whatnot. So this is something hopefully to cheer up your day. Mayor Brandon Johnson, as some folks said, oh no, a black mayor is out in Chicago, although Lightfoot certainly had her challenges. They have not only elected a black mayor to replace the black mayor, but they've moved to the progressive side in doing so. And that, my friends, is good news. More good news from Wisconsin. I'll tell you about that after news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
Glad you could join us. I'm Mike Moore here on the Black Information Network. In Illinois, African-American Brandon Johnson is celebrating after being elected Chicago's 57th mayor. The Cook County Commissioner narrowly defeated former Chicago Public Schools CEO Paul Vallis in yesterday's election. Johnson will replace incumbent Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who is also black and lasted only one term. Johnson will be sworn in on May 15th. Fresh off of his historic criminal indictment, former President Trump is expected to appear as a headline speaker at next month's annual forum for the National Rifle Association in Indianapolis. Also giving remarks, but by video, will be potential 2024 presidential race rival Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
If your company needs to spring into efficient hiring, then check out Indeed. Their powerful hiring platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers extend their winning streak to 4 with a 2-point victory at Utah in overtime. First win for the Lakers in Utah since 2019. The Lakers and Clippers jump it up tonight at Crypto.com. First game for Russell Westbrook against the Lakers since they traded him in February. University of Iowa women's basketball star Caitlin Clark defended Angel Reese, saying the LSU star should not be criticized for her actions in Sunday's championship game. Reese is catching static for taunting Clark near the end of the game with the "you can't see me" hand gesture. 47-year-old Tiger Woods is dropping hints that he's nearing the end of a legendary career. Woods, who has dealt with numerous injuries, is prepping for his 25th Masters this week at Augusta. He's won the Masters 5 times. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
What are you going to do? Make lots of stories. Tell me I'm a boy and girl. I'm young, gifted, and black.
I'm young, gifted, and black.
And that's a fact.
And KBLA
Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
Hey there, I'm Jared Hill, president of the National Association of Black Journalists of Los Angeles, and I just want to say thank you for the benevolent $10,000 donation in scholarships for the next generation of black journalists.
And I'm Haywood Galbraith, photojournalist and founder of the Minority Photojournalism Institute. Thanks, KBLA, for your generous $10,000 scholarship gift to help us train the next generation of black photojournalists.
Congratulations to all the students who will benefit from the scholarship dollars raised at our Black History Month luncheon, honoring black legends in LA media. When we come forward at KBLA Talk 1580, we're bringing everybody with us. Everybody with us. Everybody with us. Everybody with us. Everybody with us.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, Maisha Cairo here, KBLA, live at Chase Bank on Crenshaw and Vernon for the In This Together tour with female business owners, a day of empowerment, community panels, and best of all, tips on building business from marketing to capital. I was able to speak with Kate Luzio, former banking executive and now owner of Luminary, who partnered with Chase for this tour. She makes it her business to build community for business owners.
Yes, so I was a banker for 20 years before I decided to become an entrepreneur. 7 of those years were actually at JP Morgan Chase. One of the biggest things that I had going into my entrepreneurial journey was a big background in banking.
So what advice are you giving business owners looking for financial backing today?
So Chase brings in so much knowledge and the opportunity to understand what financial tools are out there for business owners to build, grow, and scale their business. A lot of business owners will say, well, I need to get a loan immediately. Well, you wouldn't just lend money to your friend if you didn't know why they needed it. I tell every business owner, you need a business plan, you need financial projections, you need a banker. Because you have to start building a relationship with a banker so that they get comfortable with how you're going to build that business and so that they can eventually support you in different ways.
Makes sense. So visit the Chase Community Center on Crenshaw and Vernon. Meet a banker today. Tell them about your business. I'm Maisha Cairo in the community for KBLA with JP Morgan Chase.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
It does, and it's so important that we stay focused on that, no matter all the talking points floating around, all the misinformation on the internet, but also in the mainstream media, especially considering the source. And the reason that this comes to mind for me is that today is the second court date for Black Lives Matter Grassroots in their lawsuit against the Global Network Foundation, the BLM Global Network Foundation, which is now controlled by consultants. I guess I should say allegedly, but certainly we've seen evidence of that, which now control the social media as well as the funds. And we know from the 990s, the disclosure that nonprofit organizations have to do, that one of those consultants, who is now the leader of their self-appointed board of directors for GNF, has paid himself over $2 million to his firm out of money that was donated for the Black Lives Matter movement. So Black Lives Matter Grassroots was in court last Wednesday. You heard from one of their attorneys, Walter Mosley. Black Lives Matter Grassroots, of course, the boots on the ground, you know, the people doing the protesting, the people doing the petitioning, moving the needle against the money side of the organization, a wing of the organization that was only really set up when money started coming in, because for most of the years, it will be 10 years soon, that Black Lives Matter has been operating, they have not had any money at all. And so this is a battle not just for money, not just for the control of social media, but really for the soul of Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter Grassroots is Black Lives Matter. It's 26 chapters and more in the pipeline across the country. And today, the judge continued the motion from last week. She made a preliminary ruling that favored Black Lives Matter Grassroots, and there's a second hearing today downtown LA where the judge will determine whether or not to uphold this anti-SLAPP motion. The anti-SLAPP motion, as I learned because of this case, is really it was really created to help small actors, regular people who are being sued by big corporations. It helped them to say, hey, we're standing on our free speech rights. They're trying to use it. GNF, the Global Network Foundation, is trying to use it to stop Black Lives Matter Grassroots from having their day in court. The final ruling will be this morning. We think. I mean, that's what was indicated by Judge Stephanie Bowick. So this is a big deal because it decides whether or not Black Lives Matter Grassroots will have their day in court. And so those of us who support Black Lives Matter and the work that they have been doing, that they continue to do, are praying for the best possible outcome on this full moon morning. And I'm being joined right now by my colleague and friend. She's the leader of Black Lives Matter Grassroots and co-founder of Black Lives Matter LA, also a professor and a mother, Dr. Melina Abdullah. Good morning.
Good morning, Sister Dominique. Thank you for the prayers and representing what's happening so well.
Well, it can be a little confusing for those of us who are not legal scholars, and if you just don't follow every bit of the news. But last week you were in court. You had more than 50 supporters inside the courtroom, in the halls, folks praying, and it was a positive outcome, but not the last word, right?
Right. And so we're grateful for everyone who showed up last week. I'm grateful that we got a tentative ruling in our favor, but we won't know the final ruling until today. We also face the person who goes by the name of Shalomia Bowers, and he is the one who orchestrated this whole thing. He's the consultant who paid himself $2.2 million in 2020 alone, and has kind of orchestrated the entire thing. He has a separate anti-SLAPP motion that'll also be heard this morning.
So that's this morning at 8:30 at the Stanley Moss Courthouse in downtown LA. And if Black Lives Matter Grassroots wins against the Global Network Foundation, what does that mean for Black Lives Matter Grassroots, the movement? What does it mean?
If we win today, it means that we live to fight another day, right? It means that we get to take them to court. It means that we get to expose all that's happening, including, again, these very highly paid consultants using the donation that my mother and lots of other people donated to the movement to line their own pockets. We'll be able to expose that. We'll be able to also lift up the intent and good work of Black Lives Matter. So we'll be able to cast what they've done against, the clean glass of water, as we like to say, right? That we know that there's important work moving on the ground, and we'll be able to lift that up. If we win, we'll win back. Our goal is to get into court, to be able to fight for the resources. That means the dollars, the platforms that include social medias, include an email list of about 2 million people. We're fighting for that. And we're also fighting for the good name of Black Lives Matter, the right to represent Black Lives Matter rather than have these consultants to pretend to be who we are.
Yeah, that's got to be just so frustrating. I mean, it's the ultimate, right? It's the ultimate scam, the ultimate grift, right? I just pretend to be you and take your stuff.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what's happening. And we know that the movement is so needed right now. And, on Saturday, the family of Ronald Green will be out in the streets in rural Louisiana, Farmerville, Louisiana. We know Ronald Green was killed and then his murder was covered up. And we have no platform to expose, or a very small platform to expose the police who are being prosecuted. And so that's why we need our things back, so that we can fight. We have to be able to stand up. We have to be able to fight. And we're going to fight regardless, but we want to fight as effectively as possible. So it's really frustrating to not be able to lift up our good work.
Yeah, I think that also getting blamed for the stuff they do, right? Like the things they decide to spend money on that reflect on, all the other the chapters and grassroots and such, and hopefully that the record can be set straight by this legal action, at least, for the historical record and for the people to hopefully get a fuller understanding, although I feel like people are starting to catch on to what's really going on here.
Absolutely. Charlotta Bass, who famously ran for the vice presidency, she was the first Black woman to run for the vice presidency. She used to say, win or lose, we win by raising the issues. And so it's important that we fight so that we stand up and say, this is who we are. That's not who we are. This is what we do. That's not what we do. And draw a distinction between, again, those who seek to line their pockets instead of, and make sure that we lift up those who actually do the work of justice, who put their bodies on the line. There's a sister in Black Lives Matter Kalamazoo, Sister Monica, who's actually facing 5 felony counts. She has 6 children. She's facing 5 felony counts. She put her body and her children's lives on the line for this movement, right? And so we have to lift up sisters like her. We have to lift up people know Baba Akili, who will say he's been fighting all your life, right? Mm-hmm. He's 74 years old, and at this season of his life, he chooses to still fight. And then young people, I think about people like Megan Castillo, who's, in her early 20s and has decided not to be at the club, but to be on the front lines and say, this is the work that we need to do in the name of her good friend, Kenny Watkins, who was killed by police in 2016. And so we want to make sure we draw that distinction, that we are not lining our pockets. We're standing on front lines because our ancestors and our people demand it.
Yeah. When we come forward, Dr. Abdullah, I want to just get from you ways that people can support such a crucial day today, full moon. Black Lives Matter Grassroots back in court, fighting for the good name, fighting for the right to have a day in court. So much on the line. Prayers up. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
LA Mayor Karen Bass and the city attorney announced Skid Row housing preservation and rehab initiative. Maisha Cairo here with your K-Black Minute News. LA Mayor Karen Bass and City Attorney Heidi Feldstein Soto recently announced an initiative to preserve and rehabilitate 2,000 housing units in Skid Row. The announcement comes after the Skid Row Housing Trust's recent communication that it would no longer be able to operate the 29 buildings it runs across the city. So this new plan will turn the city's aging downtown real estate into housing for the homeless. In reference to this plan, the mayor says that failure is not an option. Losing nearly 2,000 units of housing would be devastating to Skid Row, and it would be felt citywide, and people would lose their lives. What do you think about this new plan? Let us know on all socials at KBLA 1580.
KBLA 1580 Talk Radio congratulates Sal's Gumbo Shack for this Women's History Month. Surviving the pandemic and social unrest, Sal's Gumbo Shack continued to hold the community up with great food to all that came through the doors. Are you ready for the best gumbo in town? The best po' boy you've had? Sal's Gumbo Shack. We bring the bayou to you with real authentic soul food. Mama and Granny's recipes made with real butter, real love, real everything. Also introducing a healthy option from our jackfruit selection. And there's more. Mouth-watering desserts, peach cobbler, banana pudding, red and blue velvet cake, 7-Up pound cake, homemade with lots of love. To order, call 562-423-2113. That's 562-423-2113. Sal's is also providing training and employment to those serious about a career in the food industry and the opportunity to perhaps own your own Sal's Gumbo Shack one day. Visit salsgumboshack.com or stop by either locations, Bixby Knolls or Long Beach Boulevard. Sal's Gumbo Shack.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering professional-grade industrial supplies, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to answer your toughest questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The Dell Technologies semi-annual sale starts now with limited quantity deals on select performance PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Save on select Vostro laptops with built-in security features and select Latitude laptops with enhanced privacy, collaboration, and connectivity. Save on select essential accessories plus free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
So Dr. Melina Abdullah, of course, has to go to court. But, the thing is, you are welcome to go down to that courtroom and represent, to be there on behalf, in support of Black Lives Matter Grassroots. That's downtown, actually just right around the corner at 8:30 a.m. at the Stanley Mosque Courthouse in downtown LA, 111 Hill Street in Los Angeles. They're also asking that you sign a letter because there's still tiny hope that Black Lives Matter GNF, that the Global Network Foundation will do the right thing and give the stuff back. Tiny chance, but go to tinyurl.com/open letter to GNF. It's the number 2, open letter number 2 GNF. The more people that sign on to that, the better. And of course, we know that prayer works. So we're asking you, we are asking you to pray for justice to prevail today, for the greater good to prevail today, and for Black Lives Matter Grassroots, which is Black Lives Matter, to have their day in court so that they can pursue justice, what's right, and have the resources to boost the fight, to have their name back, to boost the fight for justice, to have their platforms to be able to communicate their messages. If you are wondering how you can tell, I'll give you one example. Instead of yesterday, we got an email from the Global Network Foundation. Doesn't mention anything about Ronald Green, doesn't mention anything about any of the impacted families from police violence, doesn't say anything about today in court. What are they talking about? Trump. Since when is that Black Lives Matter? When is that their concern, their main concern, electoral politics? Sounds like missives from the DNC, which is not the same as BLM, nor should it be. And so if you're wondering how you can tell, start tracking. Go up on the website now that they control it and see what they're talking about. And you will find that it's not what we know of, what we think of when we think about Black Lives Matter. For sure and most definitely, it is not. Let's go to Lynette calling us from LA. Hi, Lynette.
Good morning.
Oh, your phone is breaking up. I don't know if you're in a tunnel or maybe you're on Stalker. I don't know. Let's try back in a couple minutes and see if you're in a better area. Yeah, your phone's just coming in and out, Lynette.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
there you are.
quick.
Go ahead. Yeah, now I can hear you. Okay, go ahead.
Reparations in memory of our ancestors. We know that the struggle continues, but always to God be the glory. I was listening to the radio. I won't say what show it was. It won't be named, but it's just funny how when this Trump thing became, center stage, the court case and everything, how they wanted to twist it and say that the liberals are being so petty and, we got bigger fish to fry, the dollar becoming under attack as the world reserve currency is happening right now. And I'm like, this has been happening. This has been happening since BRICS and Putin and the oil oligarchs have set up BRICS, okay? They trying to get their own currency. Why didn't you tell us about them trying to threaten The Hague with missiles last week? Medvedev said, if you bring in Putin, we're gonna use missiles to bomb The Hague, You never hear all of this until it's convenient for them. And they talking about all these liberals, these woke liberals, they're using racism and all this kind of stuff. We shouldn't be concentrating on the Trump trial. Okay, well, where's all this when it ain't about Trump,
Yeah, it's about our democracy. It's about accountability. It's about so many other things. And yeah, we're not. You notice we're not gavel to gavel, cover to cover, all 45 all the time. But I know they say it's a somber matter, but I'm sorry, I'm celebrating. Sometimes you got to pay the piper, Mr. 45, and he been ripping off people, getting away with it, grabbing people by the you-know-what, getting away with it. Yesterday, I should say, right now, he has a tiny measure of accountability. And that, my friends, is something to smile about. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
Gotta stay fresh, my house shot with a rest bar.
Have you visited us online for the grand opening of KBLA.store? For the best in new merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store. Be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all the official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580.
The bounce is back.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone, America's #1 brakes destination. We have the pads, rotors, drums, shoes, and brake fluids to improve your stopping power. Right now, save 15% when you get any 2 Duralast rotors with a set of Duralast brake pads. Missing a tool? Ask about our free Loan-A-Tool program and borrow the tools you need to get the job done.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the MPD Group 2021. Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
And I told you I was going to tell you about Wisconsin. So Janet Prostasiewicz, a judge on the Milwaukee County Circuit Court, has won a seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Why do we care about that? Well, it's the first time liberals, I'm putting air quotes around that, will have a majority in the state's high court in 15 years. So that means one more state that can hold the line on things like gerrymandering, voting rights, election administration, which could be crucial in the 2024 election, right? One more state where Republicans won't be able to do their election board shenanigans where they try to, well, I don't know, turn in, say, fake electors or maybe overturn legitimate election results by having these little provincial boards that are willing to do the bidding of their GOP majority. So this is great news. It's one more state that could have legit results in 2024. It's one more state that can hold the line on a woman's right to choose. One more place where we could see some good results in terms of the way those districts are carved up. And, you know, we haven't always gotten good news from Wisconsin, so it's a big and important victory, I believe. Haven't really touched on this because we've been so busy. Finland is now part of NATO. It's doubling the border with Russia. That's not good news for Putin. Man, there's so many things that I just haven't had time to get to, but we keep talking, we keep it moving. I love the fact that Disney, you know, and I'm not always rooting for the Mouse House, but I love the fact that they tricked Governor DeSatan. He was trying to take away their power, replacing their board, their power to have their own districts, their own autonomy, almost like a state within a state. And while he was running around giving press conferences about how he had this big victory, they quietly passed some a motion on the board, which basically leaves DeSantis power over nothing but garbage collecting. Probably talk about that a little bit more tomorrow because it's quite a masterful move, masterful Machiavellian move. Look, I talked to you about how there's a movement to change the designation of Black people on the census. This goes through the Office of Management and Budget. I was on a webinar about it yesterday. There's another one tomorrow, and I suggest you join nbcit.org. Speaking of gerrymandering and what resources we as Black people receive in this country. We're already undercounted. This is super important. Find out about it. We need to write letters here. We need to weigh in on this issue. And next week is the deadline for public comment. So go to nbcit.org/events. Find out more about this, and let's make sure people who actually read, people who actually are fact-based, people who are truly progressive weigh in on this very important issue of how Black people will be defined in America moving forward. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.